Night of Champions 2025 is around about 2 weeks away as I do record this video on the 28th of June 2025. And I think some big things are going to happen. And the biggest of these comes down to CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE title. It is mad this match is going ahead. We've talked about it on other videos, how crazy the story is, and we're talking about real life, we're talking about not real life. We're not going to get into people's personal things here because I just don't think that's fair. We've not done it on other videos, and we're not going to start now because if we start getting into all wrestlers' personal lives, that's what every single video is going to be about, and it's going to be super duper boring. But if we just look at it from a character point of view, to sound like proper nerds, what the flub do we do? I do not believe that John Cena is going to lose that WWE Championship, right? I just don't think it's going to happen. I think if I was going to hazard a guess, it would be at SummerSlam, which is a 2-night event this year, and it will be Cody versus John Part 2, and that's when Cody will get the belt back, because no one's booing John Cena anyway, and I think for the latter part of the year, we should just allow crowds to do what they want to do, which is cheer John Cena, say, John Cena, you're the best, you're the GOAT, you are all four faces of Mount Rushmore, and just make us feel warm and fuzzy in our tum-tums. But on the other side of the ring is one CM Punk, and when does CM Punk ever lose, right? And he certainly doesn't lose clean. I don't think he's lost clean once since he's come back to the WWE. He never lost clean in his Drew McIntyre feud. Even the WrestleMania 41 match, obviously filled with shenanigans, thanks to Paul Heyman, and so he is massively protected, as he should be. He's one of the biggest stars in the company, gets massive pops. You can argue that him and Cody Rhodes are the 1-2 babyface, although Randy Orton's in there as well. The point is he's in the upper echelon. So this match is not finishing clean, right? There's just absolutely no way. So, given that it's bold predictions, right? Sometimes people ignore the titles. I'm going to reiterate it here. It's a bold prediction. So it'd be like aliens are going to come down and shoot John Cena, and that's going to distract him, and therefore there's a roll-up, and all of a sudden, I don't know, Buff Bagwell wins. You're like, how did that happen? It's bold, right? Buff Bagwell bold. I don't think Buff Bagwell's going to be involved. I hope not anyway. Not something I'm interested in. But as I'm recording this, Monday Night Raw is happening in the next 24 hours, and it is R-Truth versus John Cena. I don't believe the WWE title is on the line. I don't think that is going to end with any real purpose either. But I do think you could see John Cena absolutely kick the crap out of Ron Killings in one way or another, or he kicks the crap out of John Cena and you get some kind of a schmoz. But I think the reason this match has been added, not only because we had all the nonsense with Ron Killings and then he got brought back, which I'm super excited for, but it's going to tie in to this match. I cannot believe that no matter what happens on Raw, there isn't some sort of issue at Night of Champions. And the only reason I slow down and start to hesitate is because, right, if Ron Killings accidentally cost CM Punk or something like that, which he did do once already, right? Remember with the whole John Cena, Randy Orton thing, obviously very different times, very different characters. But then, do you have to do CM Punk versus R-Truth? Now, it's a bold thing, right, that I'm saying. I'm not talking about heel turns, I'm talking about faces. I am talking about CM Punk, who quite clearly likes R-Truth or Ron Killings, hence why his big promo on Raw, SmackDown, sorry, when the hell was it? Whenever John Cena took over the show. I think it was last week's episode of SmackDown. But it was R-Truth that attacked John Cena after that. Essentially, CM Punk was the setup guy. Ron Killings comes in, applies the STFU. CM Punk is on the microphone going, ha, we got you, John. Ipso facto, we are somewhat of a team. And I would imagine that this is an opportunity for CM Punk to work with Truth that he wouldn't have had otherwise. Because, of course, before he did get released, whatever word we want to use, you know what I'm talking about. Every damn time someone mentions it, the end of the contract and then not the contract renewal does not roll off the tongue as well. But maybe CM Punk has seen an opportunity here and he's like, well, wait a minute. I would like to work with Ron Killings. I'm sure they've been friends or at least associates for a while, given how long they both have been around. So maybe that's what we're kind of maneuvering ourselves into. I mean, in my head, you should do multiple matches between CM Punk and John Cena. But that's what I would have said with Randy Orton. But we're not. We're doing a greatest hits tour. And I think one of the reasons the CM Punk match has been snuck in to Night of Champions is because there's no other time. As soon as you are done with that, we're heading straight into SummerSlam, essentially. And that is probably going to be the return of the babyface John Cena. So if you want to do CM Punk face, John Cena heel, you have to get it done. Now, I don't think a Truth versus Punk match would happen at SummerSlam, but again, we have multiple weeks in between pay-per-views, PLEs. You could do it on a Raw, you could do it on a SmackDown. The brand split doesn't matter at the moment because WWE, as they all want to do, just goes, shrug emoji. We'll get back to it eventually. Another reason we should get rid of the brand split and also unify the tag team titles, different story, different video, for a different day. But that's my bold prediction. I think R-Truth is going to make a terrible mistake here, and him and CM Punk are going to have a big promo off on a Raw or SmackDown, and they are going to have a match. Maybe you even do it on Saturday night's main event, right? That's plumped on July the 14th, whenever AEW will hit this. We did a video on that yesterday. I'm not going to talk about it again, but this is the other thing. Again, I'm going bold here. Quite clearly, WWE is using that Saturday night's main event as a deterrent to AEW All In. So if you are headlining with Gunther versus Goldberg for the World Championship in Atlanta, Georgia, I tell you another match that would certainly get people intrigued, CM Punk versus R-Truth. So you can build to it there. It's not a proper pay-per-view. It's not a proper big event. It ties into a pretty big issue at Night of Champions, and that doesn't even have to be the main event. I think it will be at Night of Champions, Cena versus Punk in the last match, but you could crown the Queen of the Ring, you could crown the Men's King of the Ring, could do any of these things. Like if Cody is going to win the Men's King of the Ring, which I'll get into in just 1 second, that's a big way to end a show like that. So I do have this bizarre inkling that 97.6% of me doesn't think is going to happen, but I'm going with the rest of it here in my tum-tum, that R-Truth is going to accidentally help John Cena. He's going to be beside himself. It's going to make him even more angry than it already is. And at Saturday night's main event, we do CM Punk versus R-Truth. And I know you're rolling your eyes, but I didn't make you watch this content. You chose to. I don't want to do boring predictions, right? I want to go out on a limb, especially because then if I am right, I can do the dance joy and be like, man, I'm like a wrestling savant. I know what I'm talking about, but I don't hate the idea. Sometimes I come up with creative ideas and I'm like, Simon, this is why nobody talks to you. But with this one, it's all about the execution. It can't feel absolutely crappy. But if you did get it right and then all of a sudden you roll into a Saturday night's main event with a match I don't think I've ever seen, or at least I haven't seen it in the last 10 years minimum, I get super excited about it. And I also think it does a great job in telling you that Ron Killings is now a serious dude, because he wouldn't be feuding with a CM Punk otherwise. It doesn't have to be long either. Not every single damn feud has to be 6, 7, 8, 9 months long. Obviously, I want those. They're some of the best. But some things can just be smaller. And also, we don't know what R-Truth's contract or new contract states. So maybe CM Punk is also like, well, I want to work with him. It would be cool. We can certainly come up with some interesting stuff. And then he's going to go on to other things, whatever that may be. And it also does keep Ron Killings at the top of the card. I can't believe, if all these rumors are true, that WWE tried to get back in touch with them. He ignored them until Nick Khan reached out, meaning he had all the, what's the word I'm looking for, but all the beneficiary negotiating power. I can't believe that he wouldn't have gone, well, I want one big feud. They went, all right, we'll give you CM Punk. All right, sounds good. John Cena, CM Punk. It also keeps CM Punk occupied. Like, if he loses to John Cena, why would he just go, meh? I don't want to worry about you anymore, John. I'll just move on. He told us he will break his moral code, or whatever the flub they said, to fly to Saudi Arabia to get that championship back. Then he's going to lose once, just go, I'm not going to do it anymore. That doesn't work. It does work if there is an outlier, an obstacle, something else he needs to go and sort. Well, everything else goes on. So I personally would like to see it. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Talking about some people already mentioned, going to say it now, this is going to change massively depending on the TV. I think it will be Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton in the Men's King of the Ring final. I think Cody Rhodes is going to win because the winner then goes to SummerSlam. And again, I think that John Cena versus Cody Rhodes is going to happen there. And I also think this is going to be the start of the Randy Orton heel turn that is going to be a slow burn, or at least the start of the Cody Rhodes-Randy Orton feud. Because again, when Cody is done with John, he needs somebody to feud with. On paper, I'm not entirely sure who that's going to be. I think Punk is now going to be the WrestleMania 42 direction for Cody. So we have now got to the point. I've been talking about the Cody-Randy feud for 2 years on these videos because I'm a massive nerd. And if we do have this massive 6-month chunk in the back end of 2025, and Randy on that episode of SmackDown said, I'll do whatever it takes, kid. I love you like a brother, but man, if I've got to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't think that was said for fun. I think that was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I think it starts here. Cody is going to have to win in a very eyebrow-raising way, much like Gunther beat Randy Orton last year. I think it was last year in the King of the Ring, whenever the hell it was. And that really has to double down into Randy's underwear, where he's like, right, I said that this isn't happening, right? I got screwed at Backlash. I then came out here on television and said, no more Mr. Nice Guy. And I was Mr. Nice Guy again. Now, for the second year running, I didn't win King of the Ring. This is the promo he should cut at some point, and he'll do a way better job than I ever could. And then, yeah, it's Cody versus Randy Orton for the rest of the year. Do you necessarily have to turn Randy 100%? No, I would like it because I like defined heels and defined baby faces. But I think given where they are in the legacy of the company, you absolutely could do shades of grey. And I also think at one point Randy Orton should win the title. I don't think Cody Rhodes needs to hold it all the way from July to April. I think that sometimes we fall into a pattern of feeling like that's the case. I always remind you of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who spent his entire hot WWE run chasing the championship. You just have to tell the best stories. But Again, this is a program I want to be a long time because they have so much to talk about. The legacy, literally and figuratively. The fact they were friends. The fact that Randy was Cody's mentor for a while. The fact that Cody did go out and then he came back. All of these things. But Randy Orton is such a big star, he can't never win that championship. And it's not going to make me feel less of Cody as long as you once again execute it, right? And then he can win it back. And as long as he holds it for a decent amount of time, even if he won it back at the Royal Rumble, all of January, all of February, all of March, and it's late again, WrestleMania. It's like the 18th and 19th. That's like 4 months, basically, of him holding a championship. And I think now we can go back to, you know, this person will hold it for this long based on the story, as opposed to Gunther needs to hold it for 666 days because the IC champion doesn't mean anything, and that will bring worth to it. Same with Roman Reigns. We want to big him up, put him on a different level. Now let's dictate it depending on the positions we are in. I think Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes are going to feud. It's going to start here. We won't even know it yet because we'll wait till we come out of SummerSlam. Then Randy Orton's going to drop him with an RKO. This is going to be my feud of the year. I'm just guarantee it because they have such a kinship with each other that they'll probably agree we're going to say whatever we want, right? And my gosh, they're going to tell some stories. So I'm going with Cody. And as for the women's King of the Ring, as I said in the video the other day, the women's Queen of the Ring, it's bold, right? But I look through the brackets. I think Jade Cargill is winning. And then you do Tiffany versus Jade at SummerSlam. I understand they're both baby faces, but I think that's the match you should do. You could do Roxanne Perez versus Tiffany Stratton. That's not a SummerSlam match to me, unless Roxanne Perez is going to win. That is completely different. Although Naomi could... No, so here's why I think it's going to be face versus face. Because you have Naomi hanging in the background who is a heel. And if she is going to cash in at somewhere like SummerSlam, it just works better if she screws them both over, because then she leaves with mega heat. So I do think Jade Cargill is going to win Queen of the Ring. I think she's going to win the whole thing, yes, and go on to SummerSlam. But when you look at the brackets, I'm saying this so early. Please watch this video on Monday, because by Tuesday I could be wrong. I think Asuka has to win. Now, I understand they're four ways, which means that obviously gives you a get-out-of-jail-free card, and you can actually have somebody lose without losing. But I think that's why Stephanie Vaquer is in this. If Stephanie Vaquer is not going to win the overall tournament, and I haven't picked her to, you don't want her to progress here, because then she will be taking on whoever the flub it is. I can't remember now. I can't remember. I looked earlier. I'm such an idiot. But anyway, you don't want them to lose, and they will lose if it goes to a one-on-one match. So instead, you reverse it. She doesn't get the pin, but she also doesn't take the pin. Somebody else can do it. And then Asuka, who is returning, and you can't... Listen, I understand you can say, Simon, you're just being a hypocrite here. Obviously, Asuka can also be a Stephanie Vaquer. She doesn't win, but she doesn't lose. But I also kind of get on... It could be because I like Asuka so much as I cut myself off. She needs to come back and needs to win, 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 win. I don't mind her going to the final and losing to Jade. I mean, that's not a problem, right? Jade Cargill's a massive star. But getting a win in round one, getting her into the semis, and then going through to the finals, or whatever it is, maybe there's an extra round, but going all that way gives you momentum. And in wrestling, everybody should be able to get to a final of a tournament and lose, and that not be a burial. That'd be so damn dumb. That'd be like saying in football terms, you don't want to get to the FA Cup or World Cup final in case you lose. No, you put it all on the line, and if you do lose, that becomes part of your story. Also, I would imagine, given the tag team scene, Oscar and Kairi Sane will get back together again, and they'll go after the women's tag team belts. Otherwise, no one is ever going to challenge for them again. It's again, it makes me so mad. You got Liv and Raquel being a great team when we don't do anything. So yeah, my bold prediction is at Night of Champions, it will be Asuka versus Jade. I'll be totally wrong about this, I'm aware. And Jade Cargill will get the win, but at least then we've revved Asuka back up. And do not forget, Asuka is one of the best wrestlers in the world. I mean, she's coming off a year layoff and a terrible injury. But even Asuka at 82% is still better than most. So that's what I would do. Again, as long as Stephanie Vaquer goes right into another feud, I think it's fine. But I just can't see her winning the four-way, which would be great for her, but then losing, even by shenanigans, against a Roxanne Perez or whoever it may be. That just seems redundant to me, where you can completely protect her, and she's so over right now. I think everything she should do is win, 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 until she probably eventually wins the championship. Sometimes old school wrestling booking does work, and that's what I would do. So I'm going Cody and Randy, and I'm going Asuka and Jade Cargill. Even I think this sounds dumb, but then I realize I'm a pretty dumb guy. Now, if we go with WWE usual booking for a pay-per-view like this, there will be two other matches. We've got to be doing Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. I don't think that's a program you need to extend till SummerSlam, although I would like it. I mean, actually, you probably could do, because LA Knight is losing here. I mean, we'll get to specific predictions when we get closer to the event itself. But there's no way LA Knight is beating Seth Rollins. And it also kind of occupies Seth Rollins, who has a Money in the Bank briefcase, which he'll probably hold on for a little while now. I don't know about that. Maybe SummerSlam. I've predicted that, haven't I? Yes. I think it'll be SummerSlam 2. 2 cash-ins at SummerSlam? I mean, Triple H could do it. He does kind of lean that way sometimes. But obviously, Bron Breakker will wreck him. Bronson Reed will wreck him, and that will sort of take him out of the game. So I suppose one of two things could happen. He could go on to SummerSlam to take on Seth Rollins again, or maybe have some kind of a tag team scenario. Maybe LA Knight goes, gets a friend or a member. I don't know who the hell that could be. Who's even would need a person there? Maybe Randy Orton. That doesn't make any sense. But yes, I do think it'll be Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. So I'm basically into match predictions here. But I suppose the boldness is you could hold this off for a quote-unquote bigger show. You could even hold off for a Sunday Night's main event. I don't think they're going to do it. It is worrying, though, because LA Knight does lose a lot. I think it all depends on what we are going to do with him. But ever since he dropped that US Championship to Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania, he's still a massive star. I'm not worried about him. I don't think he's been buried, to use everybody's favourite term. He's just kind of treading water at the moment, and that's not the worst place to be in. Like Damian Priest is in a very similar position. Not 100% sure which way they're going to go. You could potentially do Damian Priest versus Jacob Fatu on this show too, because they have clashed. I don't think we're going to get that. Because I think the fifth match is going to be the Women's Intercontinental title back on the line, or at least some form of it. I think it will be Bayley versus Becky Lynch, and potentially we throw Lyra Valkyria in there as well, because I think that is going to be what we do at SummerSlam. So if we do want to hold off the three-way, I got this funny feeling that Lyra Valkyria is going to be the special guest ref or something like that. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like on a card like this, I just had this weird feeling. Maybe I woke up one day with it. There'll be one match with a stupid stipulation, and special guest referee is always stupid. But my major reason for it is this. Bayley versus Becky Lynch is an all-time feud, and I think I want Lyra to be involved with it for a while. Of course I do. But I also want Bayley and Becky Lynch to spin off and have their singles matches. So here, I don't think you want to beat either one of them just yet, only because we haven't actually sort of moved to one side where it is the singles stuff. So Lyra can be the ref. It means, of course, it ends in a schmoz, and that also justifies a bunch of promo time and a three-way at SummerSlam, where I would argue that Lyra Valkyria should win her belt back, and the big feud throughout the rest of the year is Bayley versus Becky Lynch, in the same way it's going to be Randy versus Cody. They're going to talk about the legacies, they're going to talk about their past, their histories, because Becky Lynch has said in her book she really wants a feud that's not about a championship, and it's just a cool story. These are the two people to do it. You can start with the Intercontinental title. It's only going to help Lyra to be interacting with Bayley and Becky Lynch. Her as a special guest referee means, yes, you get some absolute nonsense at the end of it. Also sets up the three-way. Lyra wins. She can then go feud with whoever the hell you want. It's definitely the care. Pick somebody. There'll be amazing matches. And it just leads Becky and Bayley to do their thing. And that should be the way. At Survivor Series, I want some kind of big blow-off match. And that would really be something I'd be into. Because without Becky Lynch and Bayley, where the hell is WWE Women's Division today? Of course, there are other individuals you have to mention, but their input has been second to none, and we'd be living in a very different world without them. So, there are my bold predictions. We could probably do some more, but I think they will stick to 5 matches. That's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just saw 6. I was like, oh, that's the title that I've written down on a piece of paper. But yes, Cena wins thanks to R-Truth. We then get R-Truth versus Punk. This is nonsense. Cody versus Randy. Cody wins the King of the Ring, but we're setting up for that feud. Jade versus Oscar. Jade wins, and Oscar then goes on to win a tag team title. It's kind of iffy about Seth Rollins, LA Knight becoming a tag team member, but we'll see. I have no idea. And then, of course, Becky, Bayley, Lyra in some sort of a role, and they're all going to go off in their directions. But it's exciting times. What's more exciting is let me know your bold predictions. Don't just write, I don't know, Cody wins King of the Ring, which is fine. Give me some more, man. Plan this out. Let's use our creative nerd brains. It's the best thing about this platform. Don't let anyone tell you can't fantasy book. It's cool to be geeks. Then please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about the WWE AEW fight. You asked for it, and I always talk about it. I'm nothing without you guys. And then, yes, patreon.com/Simon316. A brand new watch along is coming. It does sound like it's going to be the WrestleMania 17 gimmick battle royal, the return of Reaper Man. It's only $5. It's just a fun thing I want to do, so please do sign up. GorillaMind.com/Simon. You can Simon get 10% off. These are the fitness supplements I use. They ship worldwide, and it does help the channel as well, which is cool. Simon316 on social media. Simon Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller for personalized cameo video messages. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, where I'm just doing complete nonsense now, so you may as well check it out. Big Cartel and Pro Wrestling Tees for wrestling merchandise. But it's another week, my friends. It's another wonderful day. Embrace it. Enjoy your wrestling. Enjoy whatever you're doing. I'll see you soon.